Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmIOverReacting for you all. As per usual, I'll be going through the post, giving you my opinion at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Wait. Before we start, does this interest you? This distinguished gentleman is now live on Makeshift.com for a grand total of $30. Link in the description below. Make sure you snag one before the time expires because it's not coming back. By the possums, 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 by the possums. Now to your regularly scheduled program. Direct complaint 2697. Am I overreacting? Mom got cut out of grandfather's will and pressuring me for her share. I said no. So, I'll add context by saying my mom is not struggling for money. Quite the opposite, to be honest. I'm the one who doesn't have much. My grandfather recently passed away. We were expecting it. He was in his mid-90s and was in the hospital for several weeks. But the issue is that he was in an argument with my mom not long before he got his final illness. I don't know what this argument was about, but I heard through my cousin, who seems to know everything, that he was so angry with my mom, he got his lawyers to come to the house so he could adjust the will and have my mom cut out of it. So once we find out what the will says, we basically learn that me and my siblings are getting my mom's share, divided between us. My two brothers have special needs, so mom isn't asking them for money. But she is pressuring me for the money. The thing is, this was my grandfather's final wish, for her not to have it, even though he probably did it in a fit of anger and wasn't truly himself in his final days. Also, as I mentioned, she doesn't need the money, and she knows I will benefit from having it. I'm saying no to her, and she's saying she'll cut me off and never speak to me again. Am I overreacting by sticking to my response and not caring if she cuts me off because I need the money? At the end of the day, your mom decided to have that fight with your grandfather. We don't know what the details are, but it was enough for him to literally contact his lawyers and to get her removed from the will. Shit was fucked. That had to have been not a good fight. And it was something where she didn't even bother to apologize, even on his deathbed, at least to our understanding. She had the opportunity to make things right with her father before he passed, and she chose not to. Instead, he decided to pass off what would have been your mother's inheritance to you and your siblings. That's his dying wish, that your mother gets none. She had her opportunities to make things right and she actively chose not to, and instead she's opting to try to get the inheritance that she feels that she's entitled to by bullying and pressuring you. And by going nuclear and stating that if you don't cave and give her her share of the will, then she's going to cut you off. She's willing to burn the bridge with you over an inheritance that she squandered herself out of. That's on her to live with. In a sense, she quite literally just put a price point on her love for you. Do with that information as you wish, but not overreacting. Beneficial Passage 84. Am I overreacting? I want to break up with my boyfriend after he wasn't truthful about Thanksgiving. So, to make a long story short, I'm a black woman dating a white man. This isn't my first rodeo since my previous exes are white, but I'm the first ever black girl he's dated. He initially invited me over to go to Jersey with him to meet his family during Thanksgiving. He then changed his mind last minute because he said it would be his entire family, and it would probably be overwhelming for me. I told him that's fine, but I asked him if it had anything to do with my race, and he said no. Fast forward this past weekend, I live 3 hours away from him, so I drove up, rented an Airbnb so we could spend time together. His roommate's mom came into town and she cooked Thanksgiving dinner for them Sunday. He said it would be hard for him to just leave me by myself Sunday, but he had to go see his roommate's mom since he'd known her forever. The morning of, we went to breakfast. His mother called and I overheard her ask him if I was going to meet his roommate's mom. He said no. I actually hadn't considered the fact that he could take me with him, so I asked him why he didn't invite me since it was equally his place. He told me that his roommate wasn't inviting his girlfriend over and it would be awkward if he brought me. Long story short, his roommate's mom posted pictures of the dinner on Facebook, and his roommate's girlfriend was there. The next day I asked him how it went, hoping that her coming was like a last-minute change and that he'd mention it. Instead, he totally lied and said that only the guys were there. He does not have a Facebook, nor does he know that I know what his roommate's mom's Facebook is. I didn't call him out, as I would have to explain how I found her Facebook, but this has really been eating at me. Okay, so this started with you guys apparently going to go to his entire extended family's Thanksgiving, but both of you backed out. Then he went to go spend Thanksgiving with his roommate's mom? Question mark? And you weren't invited to either one despite you traveling up to an Airbnb to go spend time with him? And he told you that it was just going to be a guy's Thanksgiving, but his roommate's girlfriend was there, and you weren't, and he told them that you weren't coming, and then Facebook photos posed the contrary. I think I'm understanding this properly. I smell a rat, and I think he's hiding something from you, hiding more than just God knows what. This is a really weird series of events to lie about, and the way that all of this is going down is definitely an eyebrow raiser for sure. There's also the whole thing of it's his roommate's mom coming into town. Why were you at an Airbnb? Like, was there just not enough space in the apartment to host you, or what? Because that just gives me the vibe that he was purposely tucking you away. I have a few gross assumptions as to why. Okay, I opted to poke around in OP's comments to see if I can get more context, and thankfully I did, because we have some context on both the Airbnb and a soft minor update. The first one is, yeah, the Airbnb, this is a completely different issue. I met this roommate before numerous times, and it's always been good vibes. He mentioned to me the day I was leaving that next time I come, I wouldn't have to stay the entire time at the Airbnb, and I could just spend the night with him. As I think more about it, honestly, I don't think he's ready for a relationship right now. User Jamery76 comments, not overreacting, he lied to you, and I suspect there could be two reasons. The first, the woman is a racist and he's okay with that. Or two, there's a history between them he's not telling you about. His mom knows. That's why she asked. OP responds, yeah, I agree. I just hate the fact that he lied and then posed for pictures and still lied to me after the fact. He even mentioned us doing double dates with his roommate and his girlfriend because he heard she was pretty cool. As if he didn't just spend a whole evening with her. And I'm sure he's just saying that because Thanksgiving dinner would definitely come up. And now for the minor update. Well, I talked to him, and he was more focused on how I found out rather than him apologizing for him lying. He said both his mom and sister thought it was weird that I found the Facebook post. Let's just say I'm no longer talking to him. I always love it when someone gets caught lying or doing something in the act they're not supposed to be doing, and their response is, well, wait, how did you find out? As if, like, that's the problem in question here. Honestly, that just speaks more to the guilt than anything else because they're trying to obfuscate the actual issue and make it so that way, well, no, the problem here is that you found out, not that I did this. It's just so frustrating when people do that, but it's also a good way to know that you've won and they have no way to explain their actions because they would rather focus on how you discovered their fuckery than anything else. Well, I didn't think I'd get caught. No highlight 7419. Am I overreacting for wanting to break up with my girlfriend over a joke she made? Hello, using my friend's account to make this post because I don't have my own Reddit and don't plan on using it for anything else besides this. Edit to add, I was crying pretty hard while I was writing this and forgot to mention I'm also a woman. I can see why this would read like I'm a guy. With that out of the way, my girlfriend and I are both 19 to 20. Around 2 months ago, I got in my first car accident. My younger sister was also in the car with me. A car hit mine on the side pretty bad, but the driver just sped off. I pulled over somewhere. After that, I remember being in total shock and froze. I thought I was well prepared on what to do, but it was like I forgot everything about how to handle a car accident. On top of that, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I also lost my composure and freaked out and cried for a bit. So many things just hit me all at once, and I didn't know how to handle it. I wasn't sure if my car was safe to drive longer distances. Only the side door and front panel had to be replaced, and the suspension realigned. The engine was fine, but I didn't know that at the time. I was worried about how much the repairs were going to cost. I also felt worried about my sister. Not only was she there for the accident, but I had to take her to an extracurricular. I thought about contacting our mom, but I didn't think it'd be best to bother her with the situation. She works in healthcare, and my thought process was that even if I could get a hold of her, I shouldn't make her take time off work to deal with this. I also needed to return to my campus on time for an important test that I couldn't make up, professor's words, not mine, and later go to work. My girlfriend and I have been together for years and has been my rock, so I decided to call her. Maybe that wasn't the best choice for a situation like that, but I needed help and felt like I didn't have other options. But she talked me through it, and I was able to snap out of that haze I was in, drop my sister off, and made it to my college and job on time without the car blowing up. I was really grateful for my girlfriend's support. Up until this point, my girlfriend has not brought up the accident unless it was to be supportive. That's why it was so shocking when she cracked a joke about how I was blubbering on the phone to her after my car got hit. Like, we were in the middle of a convo. I don't remember about what, but it wasn't about the accident. And she did an impression of what I sounded like on the phone. I just stared at her, like I must have misheard her. But she doubled down. She also said it was ridiculous that I was sad about my precious car being damaged. For the record, the car is almost 15 years old, so I really couldn't care about the way it looks. I told my girlfriend it was messed up that she was making fun of my reaction to the accident. I also felt hurt that she remembers that incident as me crying because I was sad about my car, and not because my family was relying on me, and I was scared I wouldn't be able to fulfill all my obligations that day. And yes, when I called her that day, I did tell her about everything I needed to do. She said it wasn't messed up because it wasn't like I or my sister had injuries from the accident or that my car got totaled. If either of those things did happen, she swore that she wouldn't have made jokes about it. But I honestly don't even know if I can believe her on that. I never would have guessed she'd even joke about a moment where I was emotionally vulnerable with her. Those kinds of jokes are not normal in our relationship either. I would never make fun of her for something she went through or her reaction to it. I don't know if I can trust her to not make jokes about a situation where I did get hurt or in any kind of difficult situation. What kind of excuse could she give the next time? Like, what if I broke my leg? What if she made a joke about me being upset that I couldn't walk and say, "It's okay because it's not like both your legs are broken"? This also made me feel like I can't be emotional to her again out of fear that she'd make fun of me for it later. I can understand that it's silly to cry or freak out about small things, but I don't think being in a hit and run is a small thing, and I did what I was supposed to do afterwards. I didn't just sit there, cry, and do nothing. She didn't apologize, and told me she didn't do anything wrong. I spoke to her again about it. This time, she added that she made that joke because she thought it was funny that my younger sister didn't react the way I did. She also said that my mom took the cost of the car repairs like a champ, while I was fretting about our financial situation. Because I had the worst reaction in my family, she said the joke was supposed to highlight how I wasn't as strong as either of them. I should have handled it more like they did. I told her that I needed time away to think, and she's respected that. But it's been hard because I've wondered if she had a point. I did react more badly than my mom and sister did, and I'm embarrassed for it. On some level, I agree that I wish I was emotionally stronger, but a part of me still says that it was really messed up for her to make that joke to begin with. There is a lot to dissect here, and first things first, just not overreacting. Even during the car accident, not overreacting. There's a big difference between being a passenger and being the driver. When you're the driver, you're supposed to be the one in full control and keeping everyone safe. So, when your responsibility as a driver fails, even if it's not your fault, there's still that impact of, what if my sister died because I was the one driving? That emotion was more than likely going through OP's head at that time, leading to that breakdown. Sister wasn't dealing with that. They were a passenger, they were fine, they weren't probably nearly as shaken up. They also didn't have the weight of having to get their sister to the extracurricular activities, having to get to their test that is apparently, under no circumstance, able to be rescheduled, or then also getting to their job afterwards. Which there's also a tinge of the possibility that OP is also in the position of needing to financially aid with their family, or they're being financially aided by their mother. The mom probably wasn't that bent over about repairing the car because she was just glad that you were safe and okay. It's not a matter of taking the car repairs like a champ. My guess would be is that there's layers to it. She would rather pay that bill and make you understand that what happened wasn't your fault and it's okay and that she'll be there for you and that you don't need to worry about the finances as long as you're safe. Because additionally, there's the fact of, in the moment of being in the accident, you didn't feel as though you could call your own mother because you were worried that she would be too busy. I'm guessing you two already had this conversation, but that probably wasn't a very fun conversation for your mom to hear. Especially with her working in healthcare, she's probably very aware of how damaging a car accident can be and how many invisible injuries can occur. It's not a matter of being as strong as them when they had different responsibilities weighing down on their shoulders. Yours were heavier, and at the end of the day, you were strong enough. You still got your sister to her extracurricular activities. You still made it to that test. You still made it to your job. You were strong enough, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter that you cried. It doesn't matter that you broke down. It doesn't matter that in the moment you shut down because you had a human reaction. What matters is how you got up and pushed forward. And the fact that your girlfriend treated you like that is despicable and vile. When you're in a proper and healthy and mature relationship, if you step over a line with your partner and make them feel hurt or uncomfortable, it doesn't matter if you feel as though they shouldn't or you feel as though your actions or words are justified. Even if you didn't mean to make your partner feel that way, the response should always be, at a minimum, "I never intended to hurt you this way. I am sorry." She doubled down on making fun of an involuntary reaction, and honestly, I would reconsider this relationship. Minor content warning for everyone, including me for this next one here. Kitty Pie 7156. My fiance made a comment about my miscarriage being a vacation, and I can't get over it. Am I overreacting? So, I've been struggling with secondary infertility for years. I already have one child, but have been struggling to have another one 9 years later. I love being a mom so much, and I was very young when I had my first. So now that my life is more stable and I'm older, I've really been trying for another because I want to experience it all again as an adult. I was 16 when I had my first, so it was hard with school, and I was also living with my mom and she tried to dictate everything. Also, my child's dad wasn't the greatest and I did everything by myself. My fiance and I both have a kid from a separate relationship, but not one with each other. For the past 2 years, I've been trying to get pregnant, taking ovulation tests every month, taking prenatal vitamins, and pregnancy tests every month that ends up in disappointment. I've shed so many tears and have been praying for a miracle. In July, I took a test, and it came back positive. I was completely shocked because this was the first positive I've seen in 9 years. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. We went and had an ultrasound at 8 weeks and seen the baby, and I saw its little heartbeat on the screen. They told me the baby looked good and its heartbeat was strong, so I was overjoyed. We told our kids that night and they were so excited, but my fiance kinda annoyed me because when we were telling them, he wasn't really involved, and right after, he went in his room and played Fortnite and had his game room door shut and was in there for hours. This really upset me. At 12 weeks, I went back to the doctor, and they could no longer find a heartbeat, and unfortunately I lost the baby. I was so heartbroken and just broke down. They told me I had to get surgery to remove the fetus, but they had to schedule it for 2 days after I found out. So I had to sit there for 2 days knowing I had my dead baby inside of me. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through. I got the D&C and put under anesthesia the same day I got to go home. Since I was having the surgery, I used vacation days for the week at work for my body to recover and mentally because I wasn't ready to go back to work yet. I work with infants, so as you can imagine, it was extremely difficult to be around babies at that time. 4 days after my surgery, my fiance comes home from work and says he's exhausted, and I said, "Yeah, I bet. I'm just so mentally drained." He looked at me and says, "Well, at least you've got to have a week vacation home and not have to go to work." Like, are you fucking kidding me? I flipped out and said, "A vacation? I just lost my child and had to go through surgery, and you think this is a vacation?" I was so upset. He said that when he knew what I just went through. Plus, our kids were upset and crying after we told them, so I was trying to put on a strong face for them because they were crying and not taking it well. Ever since he made this comment, I've been rethinking everything. My doctor asked me the other day at an appointment if I wanted to try again, and I don't know if I want to or not. Am I overreacting at his comment? I don't know if it's just all the hormones running through my body or what, but this really upset me. You're engaged to someone who has the emotional maturity and intelligence of a child. Oh yeah, that's really good news. Anyways, I'm gonna go play Fortnite. Dude probably sees this as a vacation because it's like, damn, my stupid fiance gets to stay home. I could be at home right now playing Fortnite instead I have to work. Huh. Was he even by your side when you went in for the procedure, by the way? I certainly don't have hormones going through me, and I would definitely say that you're not overreacting, and I would definitely be in the position of rethinking my entire relationship with someone who thinks that having a child die inside of you is a vacation. Fuck that. Evan Amoeba 7262. Am I overreacting? Finding out I've been purposely excluded from Thanksgiving for years because Dad brings his mistress. For background, my mother passed away in 2022 of a terminal illness. A year prior to that, once she was permanently disabled and had to be on oxygen 24/7, I found out my dad was cheating on her. He showed me something on his computer, and I saw the dating website saved to his browser favorites. I'm still somewhat conflicted for not telling her, but I do believe I did what was best, because I honestly think it would have killed her. Not only that, but my brother, who has autism, lived with them and relied on them. The weight of that secret felt like having a gun pointed at my own family. So please, I'm not here to be told I should have pulled the trigger. I truly don't feel I was taking my dad's side by not telling Mom. I just wanted to protect her. She died believing she had a loyal husband, and I don't regret that. He was an absolute wreck when she got sick. I mean, having to seek emergency mental health prescriptions, kind of wreck. While my mom was sick, I tried to convince my dad and his parents that we should try to move her to a place with better air quality once she was well enough. Doing so would have brought her either to her home state, the East Coast US, where I moved to after graduating, and her whole side of the family lives, or potentially to where my dad's parents live, the West Coast. I'd try to convince them for years, leading up to my mom's final sickness, to move her from the very dusty place my immediate family lived, and was always brushed off. My mom was so isolated there, and I could tell she was unhappy. I can tell you from experience that it's next to impossible to make friends there, even for someone without physical limitations. I'd call my mom nearly every day from my state, her home state, and we'd talk for ages. She told me once that I just didn't know how much that helped her. It was a very rare expression of her sadness. She was a gentle soul who desperately didn't want to burden anyone with anything. At one point, I was riding to the hospital with my dad, just trying to figure out why. They had the means, so why not? It suddenly struck me. Dad doesn't want to move, because Dad has a mistress here that he doesn't want to leave. I said this revelation out loud, and he broke down sobbing. Not defending himself, not denying it. I felt sick. My mom was probably the sweetest person I've ever known. She was my best friend, and until this, I'd never kept a secret from her. It's the worst thing I've ever done. The secret was one thing, but letting it affect her health, keeping her so far away from her friends and family for however much time she had left, it still infuriates me. She died, and we shipped her back to East to be buried. A few months, 3 to 4 went by, and I was talking to my autistic brother on the phone. I hear a woman speaking in the background. I ask who that is, and he tells me it's Candy, fake name. I have no idea who Candy is, but my heart sinks, because I do know. Just 3 months and the mistress has already set foot in my mother's home, brought around my vulnerable brother who doesn't tell us if he's ever being mistreated. Time goes by and I really don't discuss Candy with my dad. I just try to get my brother to tell me if he's uncomfortable at all around her, or if she's ever mistreated him in any way. He speaks almost entirely in scripting, which is repeating things he's heard on cartoons or reading in books. So, I really have no way of knowing. Fast forward about a year. My dad's parents are planning a huge family trip to Hawaii, which they've talked about my whole life. It's around this time that they drop by my town for a quick visit while they're on a road trip. It's during this visit that I talk to them about Candy and reveal just how long she's been around. Shortly after, they canceled the trip to Hawaii with some excuse about not finding the hotel they wanted or something. But I just knew. Candy had been invited. So the whole trip was off to prevent us from meeting. Fast forward to now a couple of years later. 3 since my mom's passing. I've not been to my dad's house since right before Mom died, when he wanted us to sort through her belongings. That was awfully quick, now that I think about it. Candy lives there now. I don't know how long, but maybe the whole time. I haven't been to my grandparents' house on the West Coast since before Mom died. It's not possible every single year due to the cost, but before Mom died, my dad's side would at least call me on speakerphone once or twice while my immediate family visited them, telling me they missed me and wish I could be there. These past few years have been suspiciously quiet during the week of Thanksgiving. Not a peep from anyone. I didn't even know my dad and brother were going to my grandparents' house until an aunt texted me out of the blue to say hello and wish I was there. It got me thinking, why don't they call me on Thanksgiving of all times? And damn, I am so tired of being right. It's because Candy has been going all along. My own family, who accepted a mistress with open arms because she's very good with your brother, has been excluding their own daughter and granddaughter from holidays. I realized all of this on my own and called my dad tonight to confirm it. She has indeed been going to Thanksgivings, and I don't even get an invite. My dad skirts around talking about it and hands the phone to a very young cousin. I chat with him, and eventually he passed the phone to my grandma. She tries the old, wish you were here, and I'm not having it. I tell her, that's weird, because I wasn't even invited. Haven't been invited in years, and don't hear so much as a peep from y'all the whole week of Thanksgiving. For years. I call them out, and of course, they don't want to hear it. My grandma even spilled the reason the Hawaii trip was canceled without me even asking. And of course, I was right again. She said this is why we had to cancel Hawaii. I knew it. I said, the Hawaii trip I can kinda understand. I don't believe they knew Candy was a mistress before planning the trip, so I can see how they'd invite her without knowing. Though, still weird to invite your son's girlfriend to Hawaii with the family less than a year after his wife's passing, but that's just me. Thanksgiving, though. This feels deliberate. This feels like they've chosen a homewrecker over their own family. These past few years, they've really pushed for me to get therapy, which, granted, I need. But it ticks me off that it's only so I don't cause any trouble for them. I have looked past a lot and forgiven a lot. I lost my mom. I didn't want to lose my dad too. I've heard that people in my situation with a terminally ill mom getting cheated on or abandoned by the husband, a lot of the time the adulterer parent is dead to them after. In a way, I don't really get that choice. I need to know what goes on in my brother's life. I'll be his caretaker one day, but now? I don't feel like this is my family anymore, except for my brother. I'm obviously hurt as hell, but my grandma thinks I'm overreacting, that I'm the reason that I'm being excluded. It explains why she's flown out to me a couple of times, talking about how she's here for me, the importance of family and blah blah blah. It's just her guilty conscience. I feel like this is enough to cut contact permanently, but maybe just accept the occasional details on brother's life and health. You're a champ for making it this far. My trauma dump had a lot of context, but important for the whole picture. And just to add, I highly doubt Candy was unaware of my mom. Mom was housebound for the most part, and would have to have been pretty much impossible to hide from her. Unless maybe she's just a very gullible mistress and bought the cliche excuse that cheaters give. I'm also pretty sure she stole one of my mom's purses. Hope everyone is having a happier Thanksgiving than me, LOL. Editing to add, my mom became disabled around 2014 due to a genetic illness that affects the lungs over time. My dad was aware of her health before marrying her in the late 80s. They actually eloped so she could get on his better insurance sooner. In 2014, she was put on oxygen permanently and became mostly homebound, but ultimately, she was still herself until her final weeks in the ICU in 2022. My father did need to do a bit more to help out around the house, but it was nothing compared to what all my mom did when my brother and I were growing up. I honestly can't wrap my brain around how she could balance being a supermom while working and suffering from near debilitating rheumatoid arthritis, which I'm sure worsened her lung illness severely. My maternal grandmother died from the same thing. I have the genetic variant for it, just like my mom and maternal grandma did. But thankfully, there are treatment options today. Honestly, I have no idea what would even be the right move in this situation, because on one hand, your father's a piece of shit, and your father's side of the family are enabling that. And they see no problem with it, and they would rather exclude you to keep the drama away. And you can't just go no contact because you need to make sure that your brother is safe and okay. Additionally, minor pet peeve of mine, while not exclusive to older generations, I do love that parents will oftentimes treat therapy as a be-all, fix-all solutions for someone's problems, as if by them throwing you into therapy suddenly you'll be more amicable to their bullshit. Like, no, that's not what it is, and if anything, therapy is going to do the exact opposite of what you think it is. It's not going to make OP more willing to deal with the affair partner. No, instead it's most likely going to do the exact opposite. Therapy is not a fix-all to conformity. And it bothers me that it's oftentimes weaponized as not a tool to help you get on better footing with yourself, but as a weapon to make someone conform to a reality they wish to pursue. Ugh. All I can really do is wish OP the best in this situation because, God, I have no idea how I would even approach this. All I could really recommend, honestly, is maybe trying to connect with your maternal side of the family, because it sounds like your dad's side of the family does not give a shit. Don't forget, today we're launching the 3 opossums in a trench coat plush. Coming live and fucking, yeah. But you should definitely buy this plush. It is totally not 3 opossums in a trench coat. Totally not. You should definitely allow this completely non-conspicuous, oddly shaped, distinguished gentleman into your home, who will certainly not lay claim to your pantry. This is in fact 3 opossums in a trench coat who will in fact lay complete desolation to your fridge, pantry, and potentially garbage. On sale now!